Well, folks, here we again for the weekly forecast. I think the primary news over this last week, once again, was warm and dry. We had a little bit of precipitation move to the state on Wednesday, but very isolated in nature. Basically, about 99.9% of the state really didn't receive anything more than just a sprinkle, if nothing more than a few clouds. And unfortunately, as we go forward in time, it looks to be the same concept: more dryness and more wetness. And unfortunately, above normal temperatures look to be the rule. But before we get to the main forecast, let's kind of take a look and see how the month of October fared out in terms of precipitation. As we go to the maps, what we'll notice is the heaviest concentration of precipitation over the eastern part of the state, and really there's only a small concentrated areas where we see less than or more than an inch of moisture, and then some right around the North Platte or just to the north of the North Platte area. But most of this white area is really basically a trace of precipitation or less, and unfortunately this is the same area where we've seen an upgrade in the drought monitor. So you can see that pivoting point up where we are bringing the nose of the dryness up into central to north central Nebraska, and we're also seeing an expansion in the Panhandle. We would expect that this will intensify over the next couple of weeks unless we start to see some significant moisture. So as we look at the upper air pattern today, what we'll notice is that there is a jet stream showing a big trough of the western United States, and we have a surface low in Colorado. This really isn't expected to move much. It's more of a feature of the surface. You can see it just kind of sits here, but you notice the jet stream starts to show a ridging pattern, and some of that energy will move over the top of the ridge, and this low itself starts to fade out. And by doing that, the energy comes together and starts to move toward the southeast. So there is a chance for precipitation. Now, the latest model runs are basically cutting this low off on Tuesday, pivoting energy around it. So more likely we'll be looking at clouds with the heaviest precipitation on the eastern side. If this doesn't cut off and moves to the east, we'll see much warmer conditions, but if it moves to the west, we'll see an increase in precipitation. Overall, really not a lot of moisture resulting with this system, and we'll see the ridge start to build back in as we get into later next week. So we'll start to see the warmth return as another trough approaches the Pacific Northwest. In terms of precipitation, you can kind of see the remnants of this precipitation with this upper air lows. It tries to get itself organized over the central plains this weekend, and then starts to shift some of that moisture toward the north, but you can see it's very spotty in nature. And then as that other system comes down from the north and merges, we'll start to see most of the moisture on the cut up upper low over the eastern corn belt, and it looks like it stays pretty much stationary until we get to late next week, and then it'll start to push off toward the northeast. Once again, if this moves a little bit farther toward the west, then we'll see this heavy precipitation starting to impact some more of the south central plains region. This does actually give a little bit of hope to the southeast in terms of moisture. We have seen a rapid expansion of dryness conditions in this region, and overall that's responsible for the ridge building up and blocking the movement of these troughs coming in. So we'll look to see whether or not this upper low does cut off and whether it can generate enough moisture to start breaking down the upper ridge that's been so dominant during the last 30 to 45 day period. In terms of the forecast from next Thursday through the following Tuesday, once again you can see the impact of above normal temperatures over the western two-thirds of the United States, and with that ridge in place, we are looking at dry conditions from the western United States all the way through the northeastern United States.